Hi everyone, welcome to Nightbird Tarot. This is Brooke and welcome to your 4-week class on how to read the tarot for love. I do recommend that you have a pack of tarot cards, and in this lesson we're going to focus and interpret on different ways to read the tarot for love, as well as different interpretations to the cards from my studies and my interpretations on how I proceed in love readings. So if you do have a pack of tarot cards, excellent. Also, I would recommend that you take notes as well. Each video will probably be around 20 to 25 minutes long. Try not to make it too long so you don't lose your interest or your attention span. I'm going to be very clear and direct and concise in my interpretation to you as well. So thank you so much for everyone who signed up, and let's begin. I'm so excited to share my knowledge and my viewpoints as well as my interpretation on how to proceed in love readings and how to read the tarot for love. There are many readers that have different reading styles, and there are, of course, many books, many websites on how to interpret love readings. This is coming from my point of view only. So different readers have different interpretations, and there are so many books that you can go out and buy and read on how to interpret love readings, as well as different websites. And this is my interpretation, so I wanted to share this knowledge. And if you gain something from this, even better. However, I do want to mention this is not how to read the tarot for beginners. I have offered that class in the past. This is how to interpret the cards in love readings. So if you are new to the tarot, I would recommend perhaps following up or studying on your own. I may offer a free beginner's class on how to read the tarot cards in the near future. I have offered that class before, so that may come up sometime this year. But this is very much a class for not necessarily newbies, because I don't want you to get confused. This is very much for those who are beginning or have studied the tarot cards on their own, in a sense, especially for intermediates as well as experts. I'm, of course, always learning. The tarot is a tool of divination that is never ending in terms of learning something new, because the tarot is a tool. It's a spiritual tool to help you not only unlock perhaps potential future outcomes or predictions, but it's a great spiritual tool of knowledge and of using your intuition as a guide. You cannot read the tarot literally. So this is something that is a very personal journey, you and the tarot. So just keep that in mind. This is coming from my interpretations and from my well of knowledge, so to speak, and how I interpret the cards themselves from my viewpoint. So I'm very happy to be able to share that with you. So I'm going to start today's lesson. The first week's lesson is going to focus upon the aces in the tarot deck. So if you do have a tarot deck, take out all 4 aces. There are 4 suits in the tarot deck: the cups, the wands, the pentacles, and the swords. So take out all 4 aces. You might want to line them up as I have here. And I'm going to dive right into it and interpret the aces in terms of love readings. As a reader, the majority of requests that I get from clients are about love. Whether it's in existing relationships, whether it's from past relationships, or whether it's potentials for future relationships. And what's the best indicator of that are the aces. The aces can be combined with other cards for interpretation on their own, they have a great significance as well. We're going to start with the Ace of Cups. I'm going to use a pencil as my guide. The Ace of Cups is probably the most greatest indicator of new love. All the aces are interpreted as new beginnings in the tarot deck, or a new cycle of some kind. The Ace of Cups in particular is very much about new love. The Ace of Cups is associated with the element of water, which is all about emotion and feelings. The Ace of Cups is my interpretation in a reading, dependent upon where the card is placed in a reading or where it falls, is very much about new beginnings in love. There's also an indicator of passion associated with this card, as well as lust and new emotions in existing relationships, or even new relationships in particular. This ace I very much associate with an upswing in your sex life as well. In terms of long-term relationships, I don't associate this card that much with something long-term. When it does show up in a love reading, it indicates to me a very passionate exchange, a very lusty type of relationship, a very physical relationship, a very much about passion, love, lust, upswing in your sex life, etc. Going forward, we see the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is associated with the element of fire, and it's very much associated with passion, energy. This could be a card of resurgence, rebirth, regrowth. This is a card of vitality. The Ace of Wands is a very phallic card in its symbolism. This card can also be very much in terms of pregnancy and fertility when this card shows up. Going forward, we see the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles in a love reading. How would that even fit into a love reading, you may ask? The Ace of Pentacles is associated with the earth. This is about money, finance. This is also about practicality and stability. The Ace of Pentacles is a great card in a love reading because it's indicating to you perhaps something that is very much a practical relationship where there is not so much of a burnout that you might get from the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Pentacles can also indicate something long-term. The Ace of Pentacles in a love relationship could very much be tied into entering into a new position of inheriting wealth through a marriage or a relationship, or perhaps your finances may take an upswing when it comes to partnering up with someone as well. The Ace of Pentacles is very dynamic when it comes to love because it's telling you there's a gift associated perhaps with this new relationship, or even in existing relationships. It could be very much indicating something to do with finances and stability. Moving forward, we see the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords in a love reading is very interesting because it's tied in with the element of air, all about communication with the Ace of Swords. It's also a truth-telling card when it falls in a love reading. The Ace of Swords is the card of truth. It's getting down to something that perhaps has not been told yet. This is also a card of cutting away from any kind of bullshit, so to speak. This is a card that's indicative of being or having the courage to reveal the truth about something. So the Ace of Swords, when it falls in a love reading, is very much about a breakthrough of some kind. This is a breakthrough of finding out about something or telling the truth about a matter, or it could even be a card of a karmic cycle for many as well. It's a great card of a breakthrough. It's like a big sigh of relief of some kind. So the aces are very important in love readings. They can also signify seasons. Many readers interpret the aces differently in terms of seasons. For my studies in timing, the Ace of Cups can indicate the summer months. The Ace of Wands to me indicates springtime. Many readers do not associate the Ace of Wands with spring, but I do. The Ace of Pentacles to me indicates fall or autumn. And the Ace of Swords indicates the season of winter. So the aces are very relevant in love readings, especially where they're placed with other cards or how they fall, as well as using your intuition as your guide. So they each have their own significance, which is very, very important. And if an ace does fall in a love reading, it's always indicative of a new start or a new beginning or a new cycle of some kind. So just keep that in mind. I don't read the cards reversed. Now, if these cards were reversed, obviously they would have a different symbolism or meaning or interpretation to the reader or the querent or the client. I, however, do not read the cards reversed. I never have. I didn't begin my studies that way, because naturally there are negative and positive cards to each card, and I read them upright. So I don't read the cards reversed, but for my studies, the aces to me are very significant in love readings, very indicative of timing, very indicative of new cycles and new beginnings when it comes to love and relationships. Next, we're going to focus upon the knights in the tarot deck. And I think the knights are very significant in love readings because knights represent direction and movement. So if you can pull out all 4 knights of your deck, you can pause this video. I'm going to speak about the knights. So I wanted to touch upon the aces in the first class as well as the knights. The knights are very significant because they represent direction and movement, dependent upon where they lay in a reading, as well as your intuition as your guide. We're going to begin with the first knight, which is the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups in particular can very much be about an offering of some kind. It's a very positive omen to see the Knight of Cups in a love reading because someone is on its way or something is on its way for you emotionally. This could be very indicative of proposals. This could be indicative of meeting somebody new. This is an offering, a gift of love and support and emotion. So when the Knight of Cups shows up many times associated with other cards or partnered up with other cards, can very much signify entering into new relationships, very significant to marriage proposals, very significant for movement and direction of something coming into your life with the Knight of Cups. When we see the Knight of Pentacles, how's the Knight of Pentacles significant in a love reading? The Knight of Pentacles is a great card to have in a love reading because it's indicated to you that it's taking its time. It's slow, steady progress with this knight. This knight is not in a hurry. He's wanting to take it slow. He's wanting to take his time. This is something that may progress in the long term. This is something also along the lines of practicality and not rushing into something head first and having it burn out. This Knight of Pentacles is indicative in a love reading as to say, I'm here, I'm taking my time with this, and this is going to be a journey and an investment for me emotionally, and it's going to progress. When we see the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Wands in particular can be a great card of energy. It's a great card of passion. It's a great card of movement or actual physical direction. The Knight of Wands in a relationship or a love reading could very much indicate traveling to see your loved one or someone traveling to see you. This also could be very apparent or evident in terms of actually physically relocating or even moving in together. When I see the Knight of Wands in a love reading, the Knight of Wands is a very youthful, passionate energy. And as you can tell, his horse is like, woo, way up in the air, you know, a little wild and crazy, and he's holding on. This Knight in particular, he's at a standstill. He's just kind of like, I'm taking my time. And of course, this Knight's very ornate and passionate and has all the elements of a knight in shining armor. The Knight of Wands in particular is more of a passionate type of energy when you see this card. Going forward, we see the Knight of Swords. This Knight is very interesting when it comes up in a love reading. The Knight of Swords, to me, in my interpretation, is a card of drama. So let's say, for example, you're doing a reading for yourself or for someone else, and the Knight of Swords shows up in terms of what's going to happen in my relationship or what should I expect. When the Knight of Swords shows up, there's going to be some sort of conflict perhaps, or some sort of drama. This card's very much about a quick exit where he swoops in on his, well, this horse has wings, on his Pegasus, and his sword's up in the air. He swoops in and he swoops out. So something is being stirred up. There's some sort of conflict, some sort of drama. Something's being stirred up. There's chaos, and he quickly exits. And in that, you have learned something about yourselves, or you've learned something about the relationship, or you've learned something in the love reading itself. This also could be an indicator of someone who quickly exits from a relationship, or there is aggressiveness or conflict of some kind. I wanted to talk more about the Knights because tied in with the Aces represent new beginnings. The Knights represent direction and movement. All the Knights have their place, and all the Knights have a purpose in a love reading to indicate where the reading is going to go. In terms of interpretation of timing, for my studies, the Knights indicate weeks. This could be from anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. So if the Knights show up in a reading, especially in the outcome position, this could indicate weeks, okay? So the Knights are very significant in interpreting love readings, especially if you follow your intuition. Now, if you're speaking upon characteristics of the Knights, or perhaps the age of a certain person, all the Knights in particular, to me, I interpret them as male. They have great male energy. Many readers associate with them as male or female. I, however, try not to do that because it's open to interpretation. The Knights can also be symbolized by each element: water, earth, fire, air. Water would be astrologically Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Pentacles would be associated with earth signs. That would be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The wands are associated with fire. That could be Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. And of course, the swords are associated with the air signs Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The Knights in particular are youthful males, anywhere from early 20s to perhaps maybe 30 years old. Okay, so it's youthful energy. Each Knight has its own place in terms of characteristics, as well as the placement in a love reading per se. And always trust your intuition as your guide in terms of them being actual people. I really much associate the Knights as direction or movement in a love reading. So I hope that was helpful for your first lesson of how to read the tarot for love. Spoke about the Aces and spoke about the Knights. And next week I will come out with a new video So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, everybody, and I'll speak to you soon.